we bring that out again. Let her push a few more times and then check her again, okay, Jackie? Okay, I'm going to check you here. May or may not feel me.
Go, go, go. Look up, look up. All the way.
Okay, we're still going to want you to cooperate when we put these forceps on, okay? Try and push as much as you can. Really push it down. Okay, leave that on. Leave it on. Just about got him. All right.
Line, that's a charge!
Push, we'll have a baby. Okay. The baby's almost out. Okay.
He just trip on the way out.
Yep.
Okay.
Good work. Yeah, just some terminal coating here.
All right. There he is. There he is.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, he's got his car.
We're sitting there in the movie, you know, there's nothing else to do. She doesn't talk much anyways. Well, you know, we're sitting there in the movie. She's just sitting there like she has to think. Listen, she's just sitting there like she has to think about it, you know. Yeah. So I got out, went around to her door, like it was my decision, and she didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, so what'd you do?
She did it. She got out, got in the back seat just like that. Oh, man, I was so cool. It was great.
So how's the movie?
Man, she's really something.
Big ladies, man. You score?
What do you think?
He thinks he's a man now.
We finally made it. Was it as great as you thought it was going to be?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Not with Edna Brumbow. You use anything?
Hell no, in the back seat of my car. Are you crazy? I was having enough trouble, but I'm safe. No sweat.
How do you know?
Come on, she doesn't want to get pregnant any more than anybody else.
Stupid. That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Hey, man, Edna's cool. She knows what's happening.
That's right. She knows what's happening.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
That was different.
You trying to tell me Chris wanted to get pregnant?
Hey, man, Chris screwed up, okay? It happens. Everything's cool. Why should you be worried about it?
I'm not worried about it. She's your girlfriend.
That's right. She knew what she was doing. Nobody forced her. You can't talk a girl into it if she doesn't already want to. So it's her decision and her responsibility.
You can talk him into it.
Big stud all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, nothing.
Nah, if deep down they really don't want to, then you might as well forget about it. These aren't the Middle Ages, man. Girls know about their bodies. They know what makes babies, and they know what to do about it.
Yeah, but what if they don't? That's what I'm saying.
Then it's their worry.
Yeah, well, wait till it happens to you, then tell me whose worry it is. You nearly croaked.
Hey, man, if it happens, it happens. I mean, if you want to dance, you gotta put your money in the jukebox.
All right, I love it.
You guys are bad news.
I gotta get up to the hospital. You coming?
You know, somehow I just can't picture you as a father.
Hey, that's not even funny, man. Are you coming or not?
Yeah, we'll be there in a while.
If you want to dance, you gotta put your money in the jukebox. Man, he sure does have it together.
About some things.
About a lot of things. But I'd sure hate to get a girl pregnant, wouldn't you?
I don't plan to.
I don't either, but if I ever did, my old man would make me marry her.
Well, that'd be nice of him. Because anybody you could get pregnant would be too ugly to find somebody else.
Yeah, well, you know what you can do with it, too.
Dr. Fisher? Dr. Richard Fisher. 4226, please.
Hi. Hi. How do you feel?
Fine, I guess I'm still a little tired.
Yeah, I was too.
What time is it?
It's about 3:30. You want one?
Nah, I better not. My boyfriend would kill me. He's a big jock, you know.
You seen it yet? Your baby?
No. Yeah, in the delivery room, I guess, but I was zonked. Anyway, I'm giving it up for adoption.
Oh.
Well, it seemed like the best thing and all. I mean, having a baby's a big responsibility. You gotta give up a lot of things. School and your friends. And besides, there are a lot of people who really want kids that can't have any. So it's not like you won't get a good home and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. If you can do it. I just couldn't. It'd be like giving up a part of myself. Oh, I'm not saying it's wrong or anything. Well, you gotta do what's best for you, I guess.
I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for the baby. It's the best for the baby.
3B 26.
Yeah, well, maybe it is. I don't know.
26.
I thought about it, I have to admit. With this one, anyway. Not with the first one. I really wanted the first one.
This is your second one?
Yeah.
Are you married?
No?
Ever married?
No. Pretty dumb, huh?
No. I don't know, I mean, how come?
My boyfriend didn't want to. He wanted me to have an abortion. But I just couldn't.
What happened?
Oh, I don't know. We fought a lot. About the kid, mostly. I had to take care of him, and I was breastfeeding him, and my boyfriend didn't like that. He wanted my body back the way it was before. And zap! I got pregnant again.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, that's when I thought about giving this one up for adoption. I mean, taking care of a kid can be a real hassle. I was feeling like I was about 1,000,000 years old, you know? My dad was on my back a lot. Well, anyway, I know what you mean.
How old are you?
18? I look a lot older, huh?
No, well, not really. I mean, this is a hospital. Everyone looks old in the hospital. I bet I look old.
17, at least. My name is Judy, by the way.
Chris. Hi.
Hi. These are bad for your milk, you know? Like about everything else. Can't smoke when you breastfeed. Can't drink. Gotta watch everything you eat. Can't get upset. I mean, it's like you have a baby and you can't do anything. Like they expect you to stop living or something.
So what happened next?
Huh?
Your boyfriend?
Oh. Well, when I got pregnant this time, he split. Good riddance, anyway. He was a jerk. He never really cared about me. It was just the sex. That's what kills me about guys. It's so easy for them, you know? What do they care? They're not going to get pregnant.
Didn't you take anything?
Sometimes. We didn't do it all that much. Boy, does that sound stupid. I don't know. Girls are stupid and guys are just creeps. Some world, huh?
Not all guys.
Yeah, well, all the guys I've known. They take you out and tell you how much they care about you, how much you mean to them and all that. All they really want is to get something. They don't care at all.
Jeff cares.
He got you pregnant, didn't he?
Yeah, but it was an accident.
Yeah? It's always an accident. But it's the girl who ends up in the hospital.
Judy, baby's lunchtime.
Well, that's life, I guess.
Dr. Leary, Dr. Orson
Here's
Leary.
my little sweetheart.
Such a good little baby.
There you go. Are you hungry, huh? You want some lunch? She has allergies. She was having a tough time keeping anything down the first day. Well, I better go. Bye, Chris.
Bye. Nurse?
Yes, dear?
I'm giving my baby up for adoption, you know. But I just wondered, could I maybe just see him?
Of course.
Excuse me, could you tell me where Chris Reynolds' room is?
You'll have to ask at the desk. It's right down the hall.
Thank you.
Dr. James, Dr. Carl James, Dr. Merrill, Dr. Jean Merrill.
Jeff.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing? They said you had it.
Yeah, this morning.
How do you feel?
I'm okay. Look, want to see him?
It's a boy?
Uh-huh.
Dr. Reese, Dr. Douglas Reese, 4551.
He sure does little.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Prescott, Dr. John Prescott.
6 pounds, 5 ounces. Look at his little hand.
Yeah, why is he so wrinkled up?
That's just the way they are. Isn't he beautiful? So tiny and helpless, poor little thing. And look at all that hair, just like his daddy.
Yeah, how come you're still so fat?
Huh?
You sure you had it already, huh?
Golly, Jeff. You don't just all of a sudden get skinny.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, they got a Coke machine around here somewhere? I'm dying of thirst.
Just the cafeteria, I think.
Come on, let's go.
I just had one. You go get one, then come back, okay?
You come with me.
I'm supposed to stay on the floor.
Well, let's go down to your room then.
What's the matter?
Nothing's the matter. I just don't feel like standing around here.
You don't want to look at the baby?
I looked at him.
Just barely. You think you'd be interested in your own baby.
Hey, if I was going to be the father, then I would be.
What do you mean, if you were the father? You are the father.
I said going to be. You know what I mean. And I don't think it's smart to get all involved with it.
I think it's wrong to care about your own child.
I didn't say it was wrong. And it's not yours anymore. You gave it up, remember?
I haven't signed the papers yet.
What's that supposed to mean?
Just what I said. I haven't signed the adoption papers, so it's still my baby.
Well, you better sign them then.
What if I don't?
Are you crazy? We can't talk here. Let's go down to your room.
Jeff, I didn't say I wasn't going to sign them. It's just that, well, you know, we're talking about something that affects our whole life. And I just don't think we should rush into anything without talking about it first. That's all.
I have talked about it. We talked about it for 9 months.
That was before.
Before, after? What's the difference?
What's the difference? That's the difference.
You may have been born. That doesn't mean you gotta take it.
Security to 5 North.
Why don't
Security.
you people mind
5
your own
North.
business?
Staff.
Stop
You
it.
stop it. You're the one who started it. We had this whole thing settled. You agreed, and now you're going back on it. I'll tell you one
Security
thing.
to
You
5
do,
North.
and you do it by
Staff.
yourself.
Security to
I don't
5
want a
North.
kid.
Staff.
I'm only 18 years old. 18! I got my whole life ahead of me.
You're gonna have to leave now.
And I'm not gonna let it go down the tubes just because you got pregnant.
Holy man.
It wasn't just me.
Come on, let's catch up with Jeff.
Jeff, but what about Chris? Man, I don't believe him. I mean, it's like he doesn't care about her or anything.
Yeah, well, he put his money in the jukebox, but it didn't play his song.
I don't think that's a bit funny.
I didn't mean it to be. Let's get out of here before they run us out.
I mean, Chris is a really good person. I can't believe anybody'd treat her that way, especially him. She wouldn't have got pregnant if it hadn't been for him. Like she said, it wasn't just her. You think about it.
I am thinking about it.
Well, would you act that way? Wouldn't you care if it was your girlfriend?
It wouldn't be my girlfriend.
I'm just saying if, man, that's all.
Okay, if it was my girlfriend, I'd care.
That's all I'm saying.
But I'm saying it wouldn't be my girlfriend.
How in the hell do you know that? You don't know that for certain. Nobody does.
I do. Because if you really care about a girl, you don't get her pregnant in the first place.
So Jeff is a jerk. That's what the name of this film should be. That guy. Woof. Yeah, you don't feel, being a guy, you don't feel good watching this film. It just kind of is like, ooh, oh, come on. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm Skip Alzheimer, and I try not to be a jerk. Welcome to our AV Geeks lunchtime screening show. I'm calling it a show now because we've been doing it long enough and it seems to have some formulaic aspects to it. It's a show. Anyways, I collect old 16mm films and I show them to folks like you via the internet. Normally we do it with a projector and the actual films, but times don't allow us to do that at this point. We will do it again at some point. I feel confident about that, and I look forward to seeing some of you who are watching this in face-to-face, and to hear your groans and your frustrations with characters in the film. This next film that we're going to watch is called Can Animals Think? Can they? Anybody that has a bird feeder knows that at least squirrels can think. So here we go.
This layout is a labyrinth, a maze, and it's going to be used in a test to see how quickly an animal can find its way through it. Now the professor's finger is indicating the only possible open road through the maze. Those are all glass partitions that prevent a small animal from making any other progress through that labyrinth. There's food at the other side. Oh, it's a white mouse. Mr. Thin Whiskers, he's going to be the animal to make the trip. You see, he goes sniffing along. He's hungry and he's looking for food and he's going to try and find his way to where the food is. And it's at the far end of the maze, as we know. Still sniffing. You know, the sense of smell is very helpful to animals. In this case, Mr. Thin Whiskers can tell where he's been, and where he hasn't been, too, by sniffing. He doesn't want to retrace his steps. That'd be lost motion. He isn't like the goofus bird that flies backward because it doesn't care where it's going. It only wants to see where it has been. Well, Mr. Thin Whiskers is really making progress. Pretty well along now. He's getting warm. Getting warm. Very warm. Uh-oh, that's the jackpot. He's got it. He wins the prize, an aromatic chunk of cheese. Yum, yum. Well, we let him try it over and over again, this trip through the maze. And the more often he tries it, the quicker he makes the right turns. Gets to know his way around. Over to the food supply and back to his shelter where he lives. The way he's going back this time, it looks as though he could do it with one paw tied behind his back and maybe blindfold, too. He's really in a hurry. Uh-oh, he just went back to get a pal. Well, look who's here. That's a crayfish, the first cousin to the shrimp and the prawn. We can call him Krusty because he belongs to the crustacean, like a lobster or a crab. Now, the professor is going to do a little balancing act with Krusty. You know, human beings have a sense of balance, or they should have, and the organs that keep us in balance are in our ears. Now, the crayfish has them in the antennules, and, or feelers, if you want to call them that. There's a little chamber. By the way, it's very much magnified, and it has hard particles in it. Ordinarily, the little particles rest on the bottom of that little chamber and tell Krusty the crayfish that he's right side up. Rest among those hairs that are really nerve endings. Now, the professor has taken out those natural particles and has substituted little metal particles for a definite reason. When he drops a magnet into the water, the magnet attracts those metal particles and they go to the top of that container, that chamber in which those metal particles were dropped. Well, that seems to tell the crayfish that he's upside down. so he turns over. Now he feels as though he were right side up. But as you can see, he's really upside down. It's the magnet pulling those little particles to the wrong side that confuses him. Now, when the magnet is withdrawn, the particles fall back to where they should be, and the crayfish turns right side up. It's all very confusing. Now we're going to watch a guinea pig try to figure out the quickest way to a meal. Now here are two partitions, swinging doors to them, and food is placed behind each swinging door. Only in one case it's covered, and the other case... Oh, well, look who's here. This is a guinea pig, George. He has more whiskers than George Bernard Shaw, who is also a vegetarian. Well, now George starts out. He's looking for food, and he makes his way across to... Well, he turns to the right. He's a conservative. Goes to the right and goes through the door marked O. Well, there's food there, but it's tied down under wire. He can't get at it. There's no profit in that, so a little bit disappointed, he goes out. Now he goes to the left through the door marked N, and he finds the Blue Plate Special, a fine vegetable salad. He's really sinking his teeth into it. Well, we try it over and over again, and he gets used to going to the left through the door marked M, which means meal to him, because that's where he finds his Blue Plate Special. Now the professor, Mr. Mino, is going to pull a switch on him. The M, or meal door, is, and also the food is moved with it. Now we'll see what George does about this. Well, he goes out and he goes to where he usually found the food, on the left. But this time it's marked O, and there's no food in there. Well, there's really skullduggery been going on. According to the way George looks, he'll probably go home and write his congressman about that. But he's stubborn. He says, wait a minute, I know there's food around here somewhere. So he goes through the door on the right, just on a chance. He has nothing to lose, the one marked M. And there's his Blue Plate Special again. And he's right up to his ears in that food. There it still is, through the door marked M, on the right. Well, the professor keeps switching backward and forward, but one thing is constant, and George finally finds it out. That M means meal. And when you turn him out, he looks around, picks the door marked M, and when he gets there, he knows he's on his way to his meal. He has it. Now you'll see different animals faced with the same problem, and you'll notice the different ways they react to it. The professor is cutting a hole in this wire here, and down along the wire you'll see a hen, Deborah. Now the professor strews a little corn under the eyes of Debbie, and Debbie looks at it. Good quality corn. She's hungry. She'd like to get it. There's a hole down the wire. Debbie only knew it. She's walking down that way, but let's see. No, she doesn't go far enough. She just wouldn't go that far from the corn. It has too much attraction for her. So she goes back and looks at it. Well, I don't think she's going to solve it. She puts her neck out, but not far enough, and she's baffled. She's going to go hungry. She just can't solve this problem. Now we try another animal, a dog, a schnauzer, Fritz. The bone on the outside, he reaches for it. No, he can't get it that way. Well, zip. One dog, one bone. Didn't take him long to get it. Now we have a monkey behind the wire and a banana as the bait. That monkey is Wilberforce. That is, I call him Wilberforce. He doesn't necessarily answer, but I call him that anyhow. Well, his reach isn't long enough to get that banana through the wire. So he has to do a little figuring. Come on, Wilberforce, old chap, put on your thinking cap. Don't just sit there. Oh, now he has an idea. Yes, sir, he has an idea. And now he has a banana. It's just as simple as that for him. Oh, this is a chimpanzee. The keeper calls him Charlie. Charlie the chimp. Now the professor has half a pear in his hand, and he lets Charlie sniff it. He teases him with it. Then the professor puts it under that middle jaw. Well, Charlie saw him do that, and you know he likes a bit of fruit, and he keeps looking backward over his shoulder to where the professor put it as he's dragged away. Uh-oh, what goes on? Why, the professor, the old Mino, has put a wad of paper under there. Now the keeper leads him back to the bench where he saw the pear hidden. Uh-oh, and he pulls up the right jar. Well, what does he get? Just a no-good wad of paper. Well, he looks under those other jars. He knew there was a piece of fruit around there somewhere. Well, by jingos. He's still looking. He's wondering what became of that fruit. He looks like a man wondering what became of last summer's wages. And he's still wondering. And so am I.
So the narrator, John, I don't know if I have his name right, Kieran, he was a sports writer, sportscaster. Then he did a radio quiz show called Information Please. And he did these, and these were distributed for television, it seems like, syndicated for television. They might have been made as short subjects to be shown in theaters, but it was later in the 40s, and everything is telling me that it's, or in the 50s, it was television, because TV stations were hungry for content back in the day, and this is something that they could offer up for a fee. This next film tells us about the city. The city.
This freight train is speeding toward a large city. It passes farmland and small towns along the way. Then it comes to the growing outer edge of the city, where there are rows and rows of suburban homes. It passes the residential district, where thousands of people live. It passes the industrial districts, where many of the people work in factories and mills. And finally, the train arrives in the heart of the big city. Trucks also bring to the people of the city the goods they need and want. They bring food, for there isn't enough room in the city to grow vegetables or raise cattle. From every direction, people and goods pour into the city. Boats bring other material to the city when the city is near water. For a city needs bricks and steel and glass to build tall buildings like this, to house the offices of thousands of businesses in the heart of the city. Cities like this have grown on the same location where perhaps only a fur trader's cabin once stood, or where two roads crossed, and they continue to grow. It needs more and more people to manufacture things and perform different services. As more and more people arrive, the buildings get taller and taller, and closer together. More and more people need more and more stores, and a single department store in a big city is like dozens of different smaller stores all put together. To house the thousands of people who come to live and work in the city, enormous towers of apartments rise into the sky. And men build these towers with their hands, from steel that has been made in mills by other men, and from stone cut out of quarries. Because the center of a city is so crowded, the only direction left in which to build is up. But away from the crowded center, on a neighborhood street, which may look like a street in any small town, the day begins like everywhere else, with father going off to work, and then his son starting off for school. This is Joey, and he lives with his family in their own house. Down the block are apartment buildings where a dozen families live. A little further down is an even taller building. And across the next street is the building where his friend's family lives, with hundreds of other families. Here, one set of apartments has been set on top of another, and another set on top of that. This one building has more people living in it than may live in a single small town.
Is that you, Joey? Come up.
28, please.
All right.
Joey never gets tired of riding in the fast elevators. It takes only seconds for Joey to reach the 28th floor. From the balcony, he can see the top of his own house and the swimming pool below. He can see the park and the tall buildings in the center of the city. A city is made up of many smaller neighborhoods. Near the homes are apartments and stores and shops. Near the tall apartment building is a bicycle shop. A sign painter works outside a restaurant. There is a grocery store next door. The people of a neighborhood depend upon these businessmen, for they supply many different kinds of service. The traffic is heavy, so there is a police officer to help direct it. Trucks pass, carrying goods to stores and to people's homes. Fast trains carry people over the crowded streets, between the houses, and underneath the tall buildings. But in a neighborhood, you can usually walk to where you want to go. And Joey and Bob arrive at school. Joey's father drives down a wide expressway to his job. His car radio tells him about the traffic conditions ahead.
The Congress Expressway east and westbound moving in. And Southwest Highway is okay east and westbound from Cicero to Western. And right now we're flying just passing over...
Many, many people come in from every neighborhood, from suburbs all around the city, even from smaller towns miles away. Because a city is so big, its problems are big too. Some of the problems of big cities are studied in the City Hall. Here, the city mayor and neighborhood representatives try to solve these problems and make plans for the city's future. The city council decides, for example, where new housing will be built. These models show what it will look like. It agrees that areas like this, that have fallen into decay, must be removed. For a city is a living thing, and like any living thing, it can grow old. But men are able to tear down the old, to make room for the new. Thus, a city constantly changes and grows. The city council must also provide men and equipment to protect property. Firemen may use boats to help put out fires when the city is located near water. The city council decides that new highways must be built for the ever-growing number of cars bringing people to the city to live or work or just to visit. It provides men and equipment to keep the streets and highways clean and to remove the refuse. It provides bright lights for the streets and purchases electricity to light those lights. It provides pure drinking water. People who work hard need parks and playgrounds and places to swim. Some play baseball. Others prefer to watch. They go to a ballpark, while others can see it on television. Some like to draw. Others like to see paintings in museums. A big city is full of places you can go. You can study the past or ride a roller coaster. In factories and mills, the people of a city build things. They make products for their own use, as well as for people in other parts of the country. These products leave the city on trains and jets, by boat, and in trucks. This, then, is a city. It's a place where many products are made. It's a center of learning and art. Many different neighborhoods, each like a small town in itself, are joined together to make up this larger, more exciting community, the city.
So there was some chatter and some discussion. What city was this? And I guess I'm tuned to knowing what city it was, because I know where Encyclopedia Britannica is based. And see, did I just get bumped off for some reason? I apologize if I got knocked offline. Let's see what's going on. Okay, cool. All right, I'm just looking at things. Sorry. The internet. Oh, speaking of which, so tomorrow, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be somewhere else, and I'm going to try to broadcast from where I'm at, but I don't really have a sense of what the internet is going to be like there. So I've got a plan B where I pre-recorded 2 shows. One of the shows, I went through the whole thing, and I ended up not recording it, and so I had to do it again. So I did yesterday 4 shows. So anyways, I have those as plan B, if for some reason I can't get on the internet, or if the internet's just not sturdy enough for me to upload stream video. So that's going to be there will be shows tomorrow, even though I'm not at the place where I need to be to do the shows. So we'll give this a shot, and I think that you'll like the shows too. Anyways, this next film is an eBay purchase, and it's about. It didn't have a title on it; just it was sold as the dairy industry, and the beginning is clipped, but it basically shows like what a local dairy would do. So it's not just dairy items, but also eggs. So there's lots of beautiful assembly line footage from the probably late 40s, or maybe even, I don't know when it is. It's from the 40s though. Beautiful footage. So here's dairy industry. Enjoy.
Heavy pasteboard caps are pressed into place. These caps are fitted tightly to protect the purity of the milk. Then a protective outer covering is put on. It is made of waxed cardboard and covers the entire top of the bottle. This is fastened on securely as an added safeguard, although it comes off easily when you want to open it. Yes, they're pints of delicious chocolate drink. Here you see them coming from the filler at the rate of about 144 bottles a minute. And here is where the waxed fiber containers are filled. Each holds 1 quart of milk. This machine automatically lifts up each cap, fills the container, seals it, and stamps on the date. As containers leave the machine, each is inspected and placed in a case on a conveyor that takes them to the cold room for delivery to stores early the next morning. Here's where buttermilk is churned. Many people like the old-fashioned churned buttermilk better than any other drink. This is an homogenizing unit. To homogenize grade A milk, the milk is forced under high pressure through tiny holes. This process breaks up or explodes the butterfat globules, mixing them into every drop of milk. The fat, being so evenly divided, cannot rise to the top of the bottle to form a cream layer. Therefore, there is no cream line in a bottle of homogenized milk. This type of milk tastes richer because the cream is evenly distributed throughout the entire bottle of milk. Before the homogenizing process, vitamin D is added so that each quart is fortified with the sunshine vitamin. After dairy products are bottled, they're put in a clean case on a conveyor, which takes them to the cold room. Now let's visit the laboratory. This is the control laboratory. These men and women are highly skilled technicians. They make tests every 15 minutes of the day to make sure that all milk and all other dairy products are up to high standards of purity and richness. So you see, there is magic in milk, magic of a kind that you never even thought about, spectacular magic. It's just a hat, and a derby one at that. Take a look inside. Oh, there's nothing inside, not a thing. Turn it over. Reach in there, Mr. Cater, and see what you find. I don't know. Oh, it's a chicken. Watch there again. An egg. And another one. Now, that's been a mighty busy chicken. Mr. Cater, you can come to our egg department anytime with that chicken. Hold on, young man. Here comes someone to help you. Step right over there. We're afraid he'll drop one. There's that one. And another one. And another. We must handle these eggs with care. Whoops! There went one. Be careful of that one. Whoops, there went another one. Wow, scrambled eggs. Well, Mr. Cater. There went another one. That's an inexhaustible egg supply. Oh, stack them up carefully. There's another one dropping. There's plenty of magic in other dairy products, too. Let's see what particular kind we can discover in eggs. Freshness in eggs is just as important as freshness in milk. The dairy company is just as particular about the quality of eggs as it is about the quality of milk. Chickens are allowed to run on the open range until they grow strong and healthy. Later, when they start laying eggs, they're placed in individual pens. Remember how proper feeding helped the cows? Well, proper feeding of chickens helps to control the color of yolk, thickness of shell, and flavor of the egg. A report is kept on each hen's production. She gets accurate credit for the size and amount of eggs she lays during the year. Eggs are gathered from the pens several times a day to make sure that they reach the market in top condition. Eggs may be of several grades and are sorted at the farms according to their weight. Packers sort them correctly, and if they're doubtful about any egg, they weigh it on a delicate scale. This is called candling because in the old days it was done by candlelight. Holding the egg against a strong beam of light shows whether it's absolutely fresh and perfect inside the shell. No matter how fresh and perfect the country eggs are supposed to be, your dairy company checks every one before delivery. There is no substitute for butter. Let's see how it's made. Here the butter churn is being filled. Now, of course, butter is a dairy product, and you naturally expect to get it where you get your milk. Butter is made of sweet cream that has been pasteurized and then kept cold until it is put into the churn. Then the doors are fastened up good and tight, an electric motor is turned on, and the churn revolves until butter forms. Then the churn is stopped and the doors are opened. The butter maker checks the butter for proper consistency. Almost everybody likes butter slightly salty, so the butter maker adds just the right amount of salt. Afterwards, the doors are closed and the churn is run a little longer to mix the salt evenly throughout the butter. The butter is then removed from the churn, placed in tubs, and shipped to city plants. Let's go along and see what happens there. Here, absolutely clean, dust-proof, air-conditioned room, a machine cuts the butter into blocks, ready for packaging. Each block weighs exactly 1/4 of a pound. No human hands ever come into contact with butter. This automatic machine wraps it in parchment paper. The individual wrapping of each 1/4 pound of butter protects its flavor and helps the housewife in serving and cooking. After the 1/4 pounds are wrapped, they are automatically stacked, 4 to a pound, and a mechanical hand places them in position for sealing into a wax carton to protect freshness and purity. So you see, butter comes in fresh from country creameries every day, and the dairy plants carefully pack it so that it's always fresh when your dairyman delivers it. Now we'll go to a country cheese plant. Cottage cheese is made at country receiving plants, and it's a healthful dairy food. Here, pure, fresh, pasteurized milk is placed in a large stainless steel tank. Then cheesemakers add what is called a starter. This ripens the cheese. The starter creates a curd formation, which is broken up by cutting with stainless steel wire knives. This is what cheesemakers call digging a ditch. They cut a ditch the length of the tank to drain off the whey, a liquid that remains after the curd forms. After the cheese is thoroughly drained and the proper amount of rich cream has been added, it is packed into cans and shipped to the bottling plant. So come along and we'll see what happens there. Cheese jars are washed and sterilized in the same careful way as all glass containers used for dairy products. After inspection, they travel along to the automatic filler. Here, cans of cottage cheese from the country plant are emptied into the stainless steel hopper of the automatic filler. This machine fills jars a good deal like the milk bottling machines. Here, chive cottage cheese is being bottled. It pours in just the right amount and then caps the jars automatically. Cottage cheese goes to the cold room along with milk, cream, buttermilk, chocolate drink, butter and eggs to be ready for delivery the next morning. Everything your dairy company sells must be kept cold to protect its freshness and flavor. That takes ice, lots of it. Pure water is frozen into big 400-pound cakes, removed from the freezing unit, and sent down a chute to the storage room, where it stays until it's needed. The large cakes go through an ice crusher, and the crushed ice goes to a bin near the loading platform. Remember, milk is almost ice cold when it's bottled, and packing it with crushed ice keeps it cold right up to the time it's delivered. Every day, each piece of plant equipment is scrubbed with cleaning solutions and rinsed with boiling water. Every piece of dairy equipment has to be taken apart and thoroughly washed and sterilized. Hot steam is used to sterilize the pasteurizers and all pipes that supply milk to tanks and bottle fillers. Each morning, your dairy's delivery fleet lines up alongside the distributing plants. The salesmen have placed their orders the night before, and their dairy products are waiting for them on the conveyors. Large trucks deliver dairy products to stores and other wholesale users. Neighborhood grocery and delicatessen stores in every part of the city receive fresh milk and other fresh dairy products for their customers every day. Other large trucks delivered to the many hospitals throughout the city every day, right on time. And each morning on every street, smaller trucks stop at your homes bringing vital, healthful food, milk and other dairy products for all members of your family. You bet there's magic in dairy products. They make strong bodies so that you may enjoy work and play. What's that you're doing, Mr. Cater? Why, it's beginning to look like... Yes, it is. It's a red paper hat, and it could be one of those fancy French creations. You surely could go to a party in that. And then more magic. And the little girl is gone. A wave of the mystic wand, and the little boy is gone. And then what else can Mr. Cater do? Ha ha! Goodbye, Mr. Cater. It's been a great show, and we appreciate your being with us.
Such beautiful footage, and the music is, it's like, oh, we'll play this record. Really something. And then the magician, regrettably, the beginning of that film was not included. And it's probably because what happens is if somebody doesn't know how to thread a projector, then you can cause damage to film. And it just kind of keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. Some projectors are better than others at handling that, but I have quite a few films that are missing the beginnings and the ends because of that, where somebody has done the wrong thing. So they have threaded it right, and they're playing it, and it's just going chatter, 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 and it's just shredding the film, or it's backing up, or at the end of the film, the teacher stops it, and then doesn't pull the film out and rewinds it, just goes and hits rewind, which is also a horrible thing you can do to a film, because if you don't have the loop set right, then it'll do the exact same thing. It'll just start shredding the sprockets and tearing it up. So that's why you will run across films in our collection that are missing the beginnings and the ends. And ultimately that's, with film collectors, they're looking for a complete film. They want a complete title, they want a complete end. And that makes it, a more pristine copy. So this next film, it's kind of an interesting thing. It was made in the early 70s, and it's about a day at the dump. And it's really interesting to kind of see, what the point is they're trying to make. It's an environmental point about trash and about, what we do with our trash and all that. So, Day at the Dump.
Kenilworth Dump, the last roundup for lumpy old mattresses. Yesterday's newspaper, empty beer cans, and old refrigerators that won't refridge anymore. The end of the line. If you were searching for the perfect adjective to describe America, you might consider rich, practical, active, self-sufficient, skilled, successful, materialistic. But this could go on all day. What is the best word to describe America? Perhaps it is affluent. Yes, America is affluent. Affluent means to flow abundantly, and we do. Our gross national product amounts to about $750 billion a year, $750 billion. Most of this, $500 billion, is spent for consumer items. Of course, aggregate affluence doesn't mean much to someone who lives in Appalachia or an urban ghetto. One home out of 14 in America still doesn't have running water. 1 in 10 doesn't have a flush toilet, a bathtub, or a shower, or for that matter, regular refuse collection service. But this is a future market for American industry. Also, our industrial outlook is improved each year as 4 million American ladies cooperate by becoming pregnant. With such enthusiastic support, America is certain to hit the $1 trillion gross national product mark before we know it. Much of our highly touted gross national product quickly works its way through the system and ends up on the city dump. Every year, Americans throw away 165 million tons of refuse. Some of it is well disposed of. A tiny amount is composted into a useful material. A few modern incinerators, which burn at proper temperatures and are equipped with air pollution control devices, dispose of some of it, and much is buried inoffensively in professionally operated sanitary landfills. But the majority of that 165 million tons of garbage and junk ends up as a public nuisance, scattered here and there around the countryside, burned in antiquated incinerators which belch smoke into the atmosphere, heaped aimlessly in open dumps which feed and breed rats, flies, and cockroaches, or half buried in mismanaged refuse fills. But our particular dump takes the booby prize. Kenilworth is located in Washington, D.C., one of the world's most beautiful cities. Every afternoon, a man lights a match and sets fire to the day's accumulation. A monstrous cloud of smoke, fumes, and fly ash mushrooms over the city. Nearby at the Capitol building, congressmen sometimes look at the man-made clouds and make angry speeches, usually neglecting to recall that Congress itself has traditionally trimmed the District of Columbia budget, which should have financed a better system years ago. These are the mungo hunters, as they're called by specialists in solid waste management. Originally, a mungo hunter was a scavenger who looked for scraps of wool waste in the garment industry. But here, mungo hunters, young and old, ferret around looking for anything of value or interest. How did the city get in this fix? The present emergency evolved quite naturally. Washington area population has increased dramatically. The amount of refuse per capita has increased substantially, and the Department of Sanitary Engineering budget has been consistently inadequate. In 1932, the city built 2 incinerators. World War II multiplied trash production, and the city was swamped. In 1942, the District of Columbia requested permission from the National Park Service, which owns this land at Kenilworth, to conduct a temporary burning and landfill operation here. Later, a 3rd and 4th incinerator were built. But at all times, the city has continued to generate refuse faster than it has built incinerator capacity. Today, Washington's increasingly difficult air pollution problem has stimulated so much notoriety and controversy about open burning at Kenilworth that a more acceptable system must be devised. The current program calls for converting Kenilworth into an exemplary sanitary landfill and the construction of incinerator number 5, which, unlike the other 4, will be a model of how to incinerate trash without polluting the air. Salvage of valuable metal may be part of any good solid waste program, but not at the disposal site, where it often interferes with the efficiency of the disposal operation. With the aid of money from the Public Health Service, the Kenilworth dump will soon be converted into a model sanitary landfill. Already, the District of Columbia government has renegotiated its agreement with the National Park Service to change the ultimate land contours and thus gain added capacity. A consulting engineering firm is developing a detailed design of landfilling procedures, and an experienced private contractor will be engaged to operate the landfill. The most detrimental aspect of this festering dump is not the air pollution, or even the rats and flies and other health hazards involved. It's the impact on the nearby residents. The smells and the filth and the personal hazard involved can soon convert any neighborhood into a slum. Lunch at the dump. It takes people and equipment even to run this unattractive nuisance. Add a bit more money, devise a carefully thought-out plan, and what was an inferior operation can be converted into an excellent one. But problems always seem to grow. Today, the Washington metropolitan area produces nearly 2 million tons of refuse a year. But in 1980, we'll have to burn, bury, or pile up 3.5 million tons. And if you plan to stick around until the year 2000, what would you do with 6 million tons a year? Obviously, the long-range answer is an interstate regional authority, tying together the central city and its suburbs in one common solution. The moment has come. It's afternoon, and the piles are growing higher. Every day, 6 days a week, 600 tons of refuse is burned at Kenilworth. The purpose is to reduce the volume 75 to 80%. The inadvertent result is the creation of air pollution. Carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, oxides of nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, and particulate matter. A specialist from the U.S. Public Health Service recently testified before a Senate committee saying, "We estimate that the Kenilworth dump puts out about 20 tons of 17 types of pollution in a day." Burning of trash and garbage at Kenilworth and in the district's 4 archaic incinerators spews into the atmosphere every year nearly 25,000 tons of pollution. Although the degree of combustion is probably higher than takes place in existing Washington incinerators, it is quite incomplete. We're cooking our wastes instead of incinerating them. The result is a huge quantity of ashes and half-burned material, which still must be disposed of somewhere. And there are the other pollutions from the dump: water pollution, fly pollution, and olfactory pollution. In other words, it stinks. Air pollution is ugly, but more important, it can kill you. Doctors connect it with emphysema, chronic bronchitis and asthma, even the common cold and lung cancer. Photochemical smog causes eye, nose, and throat irritation. In addition, air pollution obscures visibility, attacks materials, and kills plants. Nationally, the cost has been assessed at $12 billion a year. Refuse burning creates less air pollution than automobiles, industry, and power plants, but contributes significantly nevertheless. The burning Kenilworth dump is, in some respects, merely a medium for shifting a portion of the solid waste burden of the District of Columbia and some outlying areas from the land into the air as pollution. Incidentally, you may wonder why somebody doesn't just take the match away from the man who sets fire to Kenilworth every day. The Department of Sanitary Engineering has two alternatives, both bad. Either set the fire or get buried in a massive heap of cast-offs. How does that line go? My laundry is whiter than yours. Burning dumps cause air pollution problems in about 25% of the urban communities in the country. They are the most frequently reported cause of localized air pollution problems. Today and tomorrow in the same picture. Today's cloud of smoke from the dump in the background. And tomorrow's reclaimed parkland, which will look like this golf course when completed. At the recent hearings, senators heard these comments. The darkening air mocks us. We need somehow to achieve a fundamental change of attitude, a whole new point of view toward the situation. We must realize that clean air, and for that matter, clean water, and all the other benefits of the natural world belong to everyone, and that nobody has a right to destroy them. Tomorrow, this land might have what could be termed butility, both beauty and usefulness. As the sun slowly sinks into the morass at Kenilworth, something strange has happened. Somebody has called the fire department. Probably some old grouch. What a mixed-up world. The Department of Sanitary Engineering sets the fires, and the fire department tries to put them out. The citizens complain about the smell and smoke. Meanwhile, complain about high taxes. But this day at the dump is certain to have a happy ending. Shortly, the fires at Kenilworth will be extinguished for good. And ultimately, it will be possible to prove that good housekeeping is good business.
Burning trash. It was interesting to see in the comments some people actually, or one person actually lives near Kenilworth dump, and it's now a park, a national park maybe. I have another film that was made around the same time by the same people called 5,000 Dumps, and it features a dump in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is where I'm based, and so maybe I'll show that next week, because we love films about dumps. So the moral of that story is, hey cities, don't burn your trash out in big fields. It's a bad scene. All right, I got one last thing, kind of a palate cleanser. And thank you, Ross, for buying us some coffee. Coffee makes the world go round, the world go round, the world go round. Here we go. Here's some TV trailers of films that came out, I think, in the 70s. Bye.
Something is moving in the fog.
Who's there?
Something not quite human.
Who is that?
In Halloween, John Carpenter created a night of absolute fear. Now, he has conjured an evil so intense, not even the dawn can drive it away. The Fog, a study in unrelenting terror. Rated R. The light fades. Darkness falls. The air grows cold. The earth trembles. Pages turn. Something moves. We're all cursed. All of us. It's too late to run. It's too late to scream. The Fog is here. John Carpenter's The Fog. Rated R. A solitary woman on a deserted beach in an unprotected lighthouse. A helpless child alone in the dark in an isolated cottage. Two innocent people about to encounter the Fog. From the creator of Halloween, a study in unrelenting terror. John Carpenter's The Fog. Rated R. Joseph Wambaugh's The Onion Field is now a motion picture triumph. Newsweek magazine says The Onion Field is one of the best films of the year, a prowling, gripping movie. Playboy magazine calls The Onion Field an excellent movie, angry, compassionate, and thought-provoking. And People magazine calls The Onion Field an emotionally overpowering movie. The Onion Field, a true story from Avco Embassy Pictures. Joseph Wambaugh's The Onion Field. The praise is just beginning. Us magazine says The Onion Field is a deeply moving masterpiece, one of the year's best films and a likely Academy Award contender. Rex Reed acclaims The Onion Field as a scalding police dossier that goes deeper than just telling a good story. It has a shattering effect. And After Dark calls The Onion Field a brilliant thriller, engrossing and provocative. The Onion Field, a true story from Avco Embassy Pictures.
Get a date, get a hit, and go see Squeeze Play, the World Series of Laughs. Squeeze Play is 7 innings of Animal House and meatballs and the wildest softball game of the year. Rated R.
Squeeze Play, 30 TV.
What is a Squeeze Play?
Oh, fantastic!
Primo.
It was good.
You know, next time I think I'll even bring my wife. Get a date, get a hit, and see Squeeze Play. It's 7 innings of Animal House and meatballs and the wildest movie of the year.
Squeeze Play is fun. Sun, cars, and bars.
The New York Daily News calls Squeeze Play a saucy, spicy, rollicking comedy. Squeeze Play. It's the World Series of Laughs. Coming soon. Rated R.
where the women were shy.
Do you mind taking hold of these, please?
The Indians were restless. And the villains were the heroes of the day. Kirk Douglas, Anne Margaret, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Foster Brooks, Mel Tillis, Ruth Buzzy, and Paul Lynde in The Villain, rated PG. Kirk Douglas is the villain. And the meaner the villain, the nicer the opposition. Anne Margaret, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Foster Brooks, Ruth Buzzy, Jack Elam, Strother Martin, Mel Tillis, and Paul Lynde. The Villain. With a cast like this, who needs a hero? We need The Villain, rated PG.
So there were some directors of note in there. Harold Becker, who did The Onion Fields, also did Blind Gary Davis, which we showed, I believe, earlier this week. Maybe last week. I can't remember. Which was a documentary short about the blues guitarist. Squeeze Play was an early Lloyd Kaufman film. Lloyd Kaufman, of course, started Troma Films. And then The Villain, which a lot of people are looking at as a Blazing Saddles kind of knockoff, was directed by Hal Needham, our good friend Hal Needham, who did Smoking the Bandit and was a stunt driver and good friends with Burt Reynolds. So there you go. Thanks for joining us today. I very much appreciated showing these films to you and your comments. And as I said, I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be somewhere else. And so I'm not sure. I'm going to try to broadcast from wherever I'm going to be. And if it works, it'll be awesome. If not, I've got a plan B where I will log on and I've got pre-planned shows for you. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you. I mean, am I really seeing you? I'll see you tomorrow. If you like what you saw, hit like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook and wherever. If you want to caffeinate me, buy us some coffee. We love it, and we will drink it. avgeeks.com is a great place to look for DVDs and previous shows that we've done. Thanks so much. You guys have a good rest of your Wednesday. I have to go pack. Take care, everybody.